Hello all, myself Vedangi and I'm a legal intern at Lexis and Company, and my another topic for today's discussion is the concept of apostasy in Muslim law. So first of all, let's discuss what is apostasy. So apostasy is derived from the Greek word apostasies, which mean defection, and to aid, apostasy is the abandonment of faith, belief or faithfulness, and apostasy is a term used by the society for disaffiliation from religion by a person, and in a technical sense it is the implication of non-believers to turn down the negative significance. Sociologists term apostate as a conflict of an idea for an individual to struggle against the old belief or faith, and in simple terms we can say that apostasy applies to rebel against God or religion, and in general apostasies are an escape, redeem, liberate them from an idea or practice which self limits oneself. Now, what is the outcome of apostasy? So many religious groups oppose the idea of atheism or non-believers, which could result in boycotts in the community and criminal offense or execution. Death punishment is even found in the Sharia law in certain Islamic countries, and in 2014, as per the annual Freedom on Thought report by the International Humanist and Ethical Union, found that 13 countries imposed capital punishment on the people for their lack of faith in the religion. And apostasy is also an important factor for personal laws in India. Personal law related to marriage, divorce, and inheritance. And in India, it is a vital role as the Muslim law is uncodified law among other religions such as Christianity, Parsi, and Hindu, which have a codified act in place. Also, marriage is a very social institution to keep a family continuous and a global custom, and this custom is easily influenced by the religion or faith followed by an individual. Hence, apostasy can affect the process of marriage, divorce, and inheritance of any person. And other than Muslim law, all other religions in India have no major effect of apostasy in their personal laws. Now, talking about the concept of marriage in Muslim law, so in many religion, marriage is a traditional custom, but in Muslim law, the marriage, that is nikah, is a civil contract which legalizes the sexual intercourse and for the procreation of children, and marriage called nikah is a civil contract governed under Indian Contract Act 1872. So to constitute a valid marriage in Muslim law, no formal wedding ceremony is required, and the essential precondition for a valid contract are proposal and acceptance, capacity to contract marriage, and absence of any barrier. Talking about proposal and acceptance, so proposal is called ijab and acceptance is called qabul, and the proposal and acceptance need to be in one meeting from both the sides of the party. And talking about the capacity to contract marriage, so every individual has a capacity of being married if one has attained puberty and is of sound mind, and it is in the same group as mentioned under section 11 and 12 of the Indian Contract Act. And talking about the absence of any barrier, so as to have a valid marriage contract, one should not face any barrier like marrying a fifth wife or absence of witnesses. Now we come to the topic that what is apostasy in Islam. So apostasy is called rida in Islamic literature, and an apostate is called murtad, which means one who turns back from Islam, and a person born to a Muslim parent who later rejects Islam is called murtad fitri, and a person who converted to Islam and later rejects the religion is called a murtad milli. So when and how one become an apostate? So an individual becomes apostate by conversion from Islam to another religion, and an apostate can be implied if one does not formally renounce to Islam. However, if any Islam believer was forced in a war and had to denounce from Islam, then it will not be considered to be an apostate. And in many Muslim centers, countries have imposed a criminal offense for apostasy from Islam, and however the concern of the topic is the effect of apostasy on the marriage, as India has no criminal or civil offense for apostasy in religion. Now, what is the effect of apostasy on marriage? So, before the dissolution of the Muslim Marriage Act 1939, apostasy from Islam by one of married pair would have been treated as a dissolution of marriage with effect immediately without the decree of a judge or without being a repudiation of marriage, whether the conversion was before or after the consummation. But after the passing of the act in 1939, it resulted in section 4 of this act. So talking about the apostasy by husband, so apostasy from Islam from Muslim husband will have immediate effects of dissolution of marriage, and section 4 of the Dissolution of Muslim Marriage Act 1939 does not apply to apostasy by the husband. The result is that apostasy of the husband is still governed by old law, under which the renunciation from Islam by a husband will result in complete and immediate dissolution of marriage. Where a Muslim husband converts to another religion, for example Christianity, so his marriage is immediately dissolved and the wife ceases to be a Muslim wife of that husband. As such, the wife is not governed by Muslim law and is free to marry another person immediately without waiting for the iddat period. Talking about the apostasy by wife, so the conversion of a married Muslim woman to a faith other than Islam does not by itself operate to dissolve her marriage. Even after renouncing Islam, if the wife wants, she may obtain a decree for dissolution of a marriage on any of the grounds mentioned under section 2 of this act, and section 4 does not apply to a woman who converts to Islam from other faith and take back her former faith. Thus, if a Hindu woman converts into Islam and marries under Muslim law, the marriage would be ipso facto dissolved on her renouncing Islam and re-embracing Hinduism. If she does not re-embrace Hinduism but becomes Christianity, then the marriage would not be dissolved. And if a husband renounces Islam, the marriage stands automatically dissolved, and if his wife remarries even before the expiry of iddat period, she will not be held guilty of bigamy under section 494 of IPC. There is a case regarding to this concept, that is Abdul Ghani versus Azizul Haq. And in this case, a Muslim man and woman got married, and after some time the husband embraced Christianity but reverted to Islam during the wife's iddat. Before the expiry of the iddat period, the wife got married to another man, and the first husband filed a complaint against the wife, her father, and the second husband of the wife under section 494. So it was held that no offense has been made, and the court remarked that whatever view was taken of the uncertain status of the parties during the period of the iddat, and however illegal and void under Mohammedan law the second marriage of the woman during the period of iddat may be, there is no foundation of charge under section 494 of IPC against her, and her second marriage is not void because of its taking place during the life of a prior husband, but because of the special doctrine of the Mohammedan law of iddat, which is the IPC has nothing to do with. So what we can conclude from this entire concept is that it can be said that apostasy has a massive impact on the personal law in Muslim law, and in India the apostasies from Islam are protected under the Constitution and the Dissolution of the Muslim Marriage Act 1939, and it can be clearly stated that in modern times a female married Muslim can be protected under Muslim law and the Constitution of India. And in addition, many NGOs and religious leaders are ensuring that no individual can take undue advantage of Muslim law. So guys, that's all about my discussion on this particular topic. I hope you all liked my video. If you guys have any doubt with regard to this video or to the previous one, then you can comment in the comment section. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel Lex Click. We will meet in the next video. Till then, bye.